So Walmart comes out again. Almost reminds me of the Walmart of the true origination days, promoting something that's pretty awesome. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to discuss, Aussie, what happened in Australia last night. Uber liberal wins. Canada has an uber liberal winning. So we cannot forget that the world is still going a little bit more crazy, even though America may have went more conservative. We'll discuss exactly what's happening. And truthfully, there's a whole big discussion on, well, the World Economic Forum is building back power. Bill Gates has made a huge announcement that he's working alongside these guys, like Mark Carney in Canada. Is these things going to come back and harm us, especially when they're all pushing for this net zero emissions? What does that actually mean? Let's talk about it, because I think even though we think we got them down because Trump got in, the world is still going a little bit mad. We'll discuss what they said and some of the announcements made from the WEF and from these globalists. It'll kind of blow your mind. Also, the new jobs number came out for Trump, actually better than expected. Second month in a row. Massive win for him. And we'll discuss, again, while the mainstream and all the banks tell you everything's going crazy, the S&P's looking back just what it was back in November when he became president. So a ton to discuss today, and we'll jump into a few more stories. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. Thank you so very much for being here. We are humbled, again, every day that you watch our channels, from the Macs to Life of Kobe Mac, my vlog channel, which has really done well. Y'all are really concerned about our pond, so thank you so very much. So keep watching that channel. And then, of course, my wife's channel, The Mac's Life, where you get her perspective on homesteading and life sustainability. So thank you so very much for that. Now let's jump into the stories of the day, because that's why you're here. First story let's talk about. Australia just elected another uber liberal globalist pusher. Wants to push for net zero, wants to push for the WEF, wants to push for all this stuff that's been going on. Now we're like, Colby, it doesn't matter. That's Australia. Who cares? Well, because they're looking for trade partners. Well, because they set initiatives across the world. Well, because they're actually supposedly a lot like us, and they're one of our biggest allies in that region. Remember, i.e. China. But the bottom line is, people like them and Mark Carney in Canada, they're still pushing this narrative. Let's go through some of the things they're pushing, and then we're going to jump right into the Walmart store, because while all this is going crazy, again, it could be a grift, it could be completely false, but the bottom line is it's benefiting us right now, and we'll talk about what Walmart's doing. But let's just go through some of the things that's been talked about through this liberal push across the world. The WEF's Nita Faraneh suggests that brain sensoring embedded in headphones or other devices will soon be coming and putting tabs on your mental state. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? Our goal is to make sure that we can control parts of your mind when it has inactivity to make it better. Now you're thinking, again, that's crazy. It's already happening. What do you think Meta glasses and the Meta goggles and the Apple goggles are all doing? They're all pre-programming us to understand that telecommunications and things in our minds, such as the computer telling you everything without using your hands, without looking at a screen, it's all right here. It's getting your biometrics. Now it's even speaking to you right into your head. Do you not see the worries there? Now that's just one report from the WEF. Let's keep on going. Bill Gates comes out and says, due to the advances in AI, humans will no longer be needed. We will still need humans? Asked one of the hosts. He said, yeah, for most things, but we'll decide what that actually means, what that entails. We will decide. Did you hear what he said? Now, I know you've kind of heard those comments from him, but did you know this? This actually came out from Wall Street Apes. This was shared. Listen to this, how sinister this is. Bill Gates planning to build a smart city in Arizona called Belmont. Now, that's actually been talked about before with these smart cities. I brought it up yesterday with the 15-minute cities. He's already spent $80 million buying 25,000 acres. News reports are now coming in the increased risk of wildfires in the same area, and insurance policies are canceling in this area. Isn't it weird that when he starts buying land that he wants, insurance companies start pulling out of that area and they're worried about wildfires in that area? Something to think about. Can't make this stuff up. So Bill Gates wants to build a smart city in Arizona called Belmont. He spent $80 million to buy 25,000 acres west of Phoenix, west of Buckeye, along with other far left billionaires. Coincidentally, now it's an increased risk of wildfires, and you guessed it, insurance companies are pulling out of the area. So what happens is, just like it happens in Palisades with California, is that when you cannot afford the insurance with the risk of fires coming, the middle American, the typical American, the working class American has to move out. Isn't it weird how this agenda still pushes? We're not done yet. Let's keep on going. RFK drops a monster bombshell. He says, Mr. Gates had foresight, must have had foresight, just knowledge, because he bought over 1 million shares in BioNTech, a stock right before the 2020 pandemic. Now listen to this. The same week, Gates, who oversaw the Event 201 simulation, which means they were trying to plan for the 2020 situation, we talked about that before, he bought 1.1 million shares in BioNTech. This later became part of the Pfizer. He then sold it 2 years later for $242 million profit. And guess what? That same week, they announced that the from Pfizer was problematic. But before he did, he sold that stock a week before. You talk about pump and dump, you talk about meme coins, you talk about who's taking advantage of us. That's a pretty big deal. We're not done yet. Let's keep on going. As part of the WEF panel, the Economic Forum panel, discussions with newly Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, along with Mr. Gates, and along with the daughter of Klaus Schwab, contemplate how they're going to impose a net zero tolerance on humanity. Their goal is to curb transportation. Their goal is to curb use of carbon, which means your food. You realize we're breathing, we're carbon. You're breathing. They want to control different parts to where people want to stay in more. They want to be more lethargic. There's no point in getting out. I mean, listen to this, how crazy. You do realize, okay, I'm going to stand you up. You do realize all this stuff right here, all that greenery, all those trees, that is actually how we heal the world and take up carbon dioxide and make oxygen. We do realize that, right? Listen to this new report from our best friend that he is doing all this good stuff for us. Bill Gates. This is from Joe Rogan. He says, you have people like Bill Gates saying that planting trees to deal with carbon dioxide is ridiculous. Okay, now that's how it's always been done, Bill. I mean, for thousands of years, that's how we've cleaned our earth up, is through carbon dioxide cleanup. Through trees, oxygen maker, carbon dioxide taker, they benefit us. How is that ridiculous, they said. They literally turn carbon dioxide into oxygen. That's their food. And the more carbon dioxide there is, the greener the earth is. So why are the greenish people, the people pushing for a cleaner earth, not actually doing what they did for thousands upon thousands of years? Because, Joe, because everybody, this doesn't make billions of dollars. This is not a billionaire's worth here. Planting a $15 plant or planting an $18 tree is not giving them the agenda to push so they can change and set policy to be important. See, you can all go out and plant a tree, can't you? So you just healed the earth. Well, that's not what they're wanting. They actually don't want that because there's a bigger plan behind it. Now, the sad thing is that 35 to 40% of Americans still believe in this, even after electing Trump. So that's when I say, be careful, because we have to pay attention to what's going on around the world when it comes to these pushers of global thought patterns, because they're still doing it even here, i.e. people like Mr. Gates. It's pure evil. Have you ever Googled yourself and literally your family members and information of yours came up? The question always comes to mind is how much of my public information is actually on the World Wide Web, on the internet, where people could just access it. Not only that, think about all the spam calls you get, all the spam emails you get. I get several a day and have to block and block and block. That's where my friends at Aura, the sponsor of today's video, can help. Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people searching sites to sell your information from and to identity thieves and scammers and more. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, your house number, your phone number. And not only do they check it and monitor it, they will alert you if all of a sudden they find that your information has been compromised. Also, Aura VPN. VPN protects you on the internet, and this was with military-grade protection when it comes to Aura's VPN. It blocks all scam and phishing sites from getting your information in your accounts. What about an antivirus? What about a password manager? 24/7 US-based support. I get all this in one app called Aura. I do not want to leave myself vulnerable We talk about it all the time. We live in a digitized world. The last thing I want to do is protect my home and not protect myself online. Check out aura.com/themacs today. You will not be sorry that you did. My information is mine. My social is my social. My address is mine. The last thing I want is someone else to have it. You can go to my link below, aura.com/themacs, and get 2 weeks free. That will be enough for you to see how Aura is an asset to you, because you're going to realize how much you're exposed online. Stop leaving yourself vulnerable. Check out Aura today. Link is in the description. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's dive into the jobs numbers and then straight to Walmart. Jobs numbers came out to 177,000 this month. Actually, it was portrayed to be around 100,000 to 130 at the high, meaning he put in more jobs, 177,000. Now here's the key. Here's what's different between Trump and Biden. Did you hear what I said? He put in the jobs. So the reason I said that is this. He didn't have to put in the jobs, meaning the public sector didn't add any jobs. See, that's what Joe was doing. That's why they said, well, Joe's economy. Well, truthfully, it was because we were adding so much jobs to public sector to make our government inflate to where the numbers were actually skewed. All Trump did was make the environment. That's what politicians are supposed to do. That's what a president's supposed to do. That's what the Republicans are supposed to believe, is that all we're doing is making environments. Listen to these numbers. Job growth sees bigger expectation in the second month in a row, exactly what we needed to see. We added 177,000 new payroll jobs, better than expected, and it looks like America's on trajectory to do even better in May. So don't listen to mainstream media telling you how bad everything is. Moreover, the U.S. federal government cut 9,000 jobs. So we added 177,000 jobs along with cutting more public sector jobs. So what we're doing is we're privatizing America once more. Scott Bessent said a thing yesterday I thought was really good. He said, what we're wanting and what Trump is wanting is he's just wanting to privatize America business again. He's wanting American private businesses to be the ones making the jobs, not the government. That's exactly what we should all want. Less government in our lives. Come on, people, that's great. So I actually like the fact that these numbers are coming out, because with everything going on with this mass hysteria, and everybody's just, they're distracted the fact that these tariffs are ruining our world. They're not really. They're actually adding jobs. And don't let the scare tactics of the left or the media or even the rhinos affect that. Even down to Rand Paul, who I like. He's a libertarian pushing for free trade. Well, free trade actually hurts Americans. So here's what I like to see, is that the jobs are showing exactly Main Street people are getting work. We're at a point where we have the lowest unemployment rates ever, and we're still adding more and more jobs. This is encouraging. Now let's move right on to 2 more stories I want to hit on. First, let's hit on Walmart, and then I have a huge story at the end, so don't miss out. This is a story from Zero Hedge. It says, Walmart to increase support for U.S.-made products. At the time when American consumers are increasingly interested in buying made-in-the-USA product, as evidenced by the recent report showing that the surge of internet-related searches, the nation's largest retailer announced plans to, this week, boost its support for American-made goods through its new initiatives. Listen to this. Walmart has launched a new initiative called Grow with US, offering tools and support to small businesses, especially those producing American-made goods. The program is designed to strengthen the U.S. economy, which is largely driven by small business. Listen to that now. So here, where we always dog out Walmart, and I'm not saying they're good guys. I'm just saying, here's what I want to make sure we understand. When people say, well, they're just going with the flow. Mark Zuckerberg, he's really not a conservative. Absolutely, he's not a conservative. Elon Musk is not a conservative. To be honest with you, Trump is not even a conservative. But Walmart they're not actually saying that we're going to all of a sudden become a conservative company. We're all of a sudden going to believe what Republicans believe. It's kind of like the movie industry. Christian movies and family-oriented movies right now are growing exponentially, and actually people are going to the movies to watch them more than they're watching any others, like King of Kings and Sound of Freedom, those kind of movies. Why? Now, does that mean the movie industry is going more conservative? No, they're catering to people who are buying their content. That's a good thing. So when Walmart says they want to help U.S.-made businesses, we need to take that W, that massive win. It does not mean they're changing policy. It does not mean they're not going to be a terrible company later on. But right now, When they start seeing winning with conservative, they start seeing winning with American products, that means we take the win, we show the point, we buy the goods that say made in America, and then people start saying, wow, this may be a good plan to not buy our junk from China, not buy our junk from Malaysia, not buy our junk from Thailand. Let's buy it from America. And see what he said. He said, what we tend to see is when we buy American goods, Walmart said, if we buy American goods, typically what we're doing is we're buying from the small manufacturers. We're buying from the small business owners in America because they're the ones producing for America versus buying from these manufacturing hubs in China. So this is a good thing. Now, does that mean 100% of the stuff in Walmart is going to be American made? No, not close. But it does mean you're starting to see a shift. And if you see that tab, it says Made in America, why don't we buy it? The CEO of Walmart says, we're unveiling Grow with US, a new program designed to help small businesses so they can further their growth in America. The CEO pointed out that over 60% of Walmart US suppliers are small businesses. With the ongoing trade war with China, domestic sourcing for a mega retailer might increase. Currently, the Trump administration is 145% tariff on China. So that means we are looking to go America. More than 40 years ago, Mr. Sam set a priority that still drives today. If we truly want to support American-made businesses and small business, we need to start buying America-made product. Now, they kind of lost that, but you see they're quoting the founder. Does that mean they're coming back to values and principles? Maybe, maybe not. But if we show that we want to buy American-made goods when we go shop in Walmart or Kmart or Kroger or wherever you're shopping from, Target, if you start buying that Made in America logo, you actually start seeing a difference. Because guess what? It's consumer-driven economy. If we start buying more American, then therefore more stores will start housing American goods. So it comes down to us not always buying the cheapest of the cheap goods. Now, is it wrong to try to get a deal here and there? No. But let's just be wise, because when we're buying American, that also goes back to buying American beef. All of a sudden, you may start seeing stores say, well, you know what, we can't buy this foreign meat because Americans are wanting to buy American beef. They want true beef from America. You see how that impacts? You see it changed our movies? King of Kings is one of the biggest movies right now. Why? Because we want good, wholesome content to watch. That's what we're needing. We're needing a change. And that change is not just saying America first. It's going back to the morals and values. Who did they quote? Who did the CEO quote? You ain't heard this guy's name in a long time. Sam Walton made a promise to help small businesses and American-made products. We're quoting something from 40, 50, 60 years ago. That means we could be seeing change in America. But it takes us pushing on the narrative against this global push that you're seeing people like Gates do and all these other people do, these billionaires across the world do, and start focusing back on America. Now, last story I want to bring up, and this is a monster story that I think comes out. Now, Texas has had some pretty bad negative press lately with the Plano, Texas situation with their rhinos in Congress, but they did pass one thing, and I want to give them kudos to it. And again, I don't know if it's Abbott, I don't know who it is, but I thought this was huge, what just came out. Texas just blew the public education as we knew it. Governor Greg Abbott signed a $1 billion school voucher law, making 5.3 million Texas students eligible for private school funding. Now, why is this a big deal? Because the push has been for like charter schools. The money goes with the kid. You've heard that. You know, for instance, I pay public school money because my tax is for property tax, and my kids have not darkened the door of a public school education. Look, I went to public school. I know what I saw. I know the dangers of it. Why do I want to put my kids in it? So I'm paying for school that I'm not even getting benefits from. Texas just took a step in the right direction, and I think Florida is somewhere right around there. It says it's the biggest universal school choice law in U.S. history. Ditched one-size-fits-all for public model. Trump backed this hard. Abbott purged anti-voucher Republicans in the primaries to make it happen. Now up to $10,000 per kid will follow the families, not the districts. Supporting this says, we want freedom. See, this makes sense to me. Why? Why should I have to pay for public school education if my kids are not going? And then on top of that, why should I have to pay for public school education if my kids are going and I don't want them in that school because it's a failing school? So we talked about charter schools. Now we're talking about private education. Here's why I think this is important. I have a private education. I'm homeschool. We homeschool our children. So I have a private school about 5 miles from me. Now again, we homeschool, but that school's about 5 miles from me. Their tuition, I think, again, I don't go there, is around $300 or $400 a month per kid. Well, when you add that up, that can be pretty pricey. Well, for that person that's sending their kid to that private school, they don't get exempt from paying property tax. They still have to pay a property tax. Well, that property tax and that city tax is going towards public school. So they're double paying for school. They're getting taxed, one, that has to pay for everybody else's school, and they're also having to pay for the tuition at the private school. Now, how's that fair? It's not, is it? So property tax, we've talked about that before. That's another fight for another day, because I believe all of it's a farce. But I digress. What Texas is doing is saying, look, that kid, we're going to allow that kid to take that money wherever it goes. $10,000 will go a long way. So if a parent wants to go to a private education or go to a different school and it costs them some extra money, knowing that money goes with that kid and knowing that money can help pay and subsidize the money that their parents are already paying to at least go to another school of their choice, that's a game changer. I hope this sets major policy and precedent for the whole United States. Did you hear what it said though? The biggest pusher was Trump backing people who backed this bill and getting rid of some of the rhinos that did not. This is a huge win for Texas and a huge win for America, because now you're seeing freedom ring free again. And that's a good thing. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts on this story. Let me know your thoughts on all these stories. There's still some negativity because the world is still trending liberal, non-guidance by God, and really pushing for this new initiative that they've been pushing for a long time. It even comes down to still some players like Mr. Gates even trying to do some of that here in America. We talked yesterday about Austin and Miami, how they're starting to push for this new orb for kind of a push towards smart cities. We see this kind of stuff still happening. But when we start getting massive wins like better jobs, we start getting massive wins like Walmart supporting America, when we start getting better wins like public schools getting fought against by people wanting to send their children to get better educations and have more freedom to make that choice with their own money, that's a win. So we still fight the fight. We don't put our head in the sand, and we keep prepping and pushing for sustainability. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.